One guy, one book, one beer. Hello and welcome to another rousing edition. Can I say rousing? Rousing edition of One Guy, One Book, One Beer. This is the show where I start a new book on page 1 and I read it for the length of time it takes me to drink one beer. The theory being that, the more engaging the book is, the less I'll be downing my beer, the more I'll be concentrating on reading. So maybe give us a little picture of how engaging the beginning of the book is, at least. Just kind of fun activity. The guy is me. The book this time is So You've Been Publicly Shamed by Jon Ronson. Jon Ronson is a nonfiction writer, journalist that I like a lot. He wrote The Psychopath Test, was the only other book I've read by him. And this one's about people who kind of victims, I don't know, they're targets of online shaming. Sometimes deservedly, sometimes not. But it takes a look at that and like what the impact of that kind of thing is. So we're going to take a look at how far I can get into this book. The beer is a white ale from the Catawamba Brewing Company in North Carolina, pretty close to me here. It's a white zombie. So let's go ahead and do this. All right, so I've done it. I've drank one white zombie and I have made it 26 pages into So You've Been Publicly Shamed by Jon Ronson. I love the way Jon Ronson writes. It's like so engaging, and so it just really draws you in. It reminds me a little bit of a cross between Oliver Sacks, who's written a ton of great books. He writes, nonfiction stories about fascinating, like stuff with the mind and neurological conditions and things like that. Just fascinating. And then A.J. Jacobs, who writes, who does like weird experiments with himself, like he did The Know-It-All, which was about reading the whole encyclopedia A to Z in a year and the way that affected his life. He did one called The Year of Living Biblically, where he tried to live by like every rule in the Bible for a year. And he's just like a really funny and interesting writer who's very self-deprecating. So Jon Ronson reminds me a little bit of those two, in that he's got like the fascinating stories of Oliver Sacks, but like kind of the self-deprecating attitude of A.J. Jacobs. So You've Been Publicly Shamed. It starts out with someone has made a fake Jon Ronson Twitter account, and it's just like a spam bot, and he starts learning about it and learning about the people who did it, and it turned out it was these academics, and he's like, why did you do this? He asks them to take it down, and they say no, and he eventually ends up doing an interview with them and putting it on YouTube, and he is shocked and gratified and delighted to find that the entire internet is on his side, and the internet just goes crazy for about how terrible these people are. And I will say, if like strong language is a problem for you, maybe not, because this has a lot of quotes from internet comments, which, as you know, being a person on the internet, since you're watching this, can be rather profanity laden at times. And there's some excerpts in here that I was like, whew. That was a lot of profanity. Basically, he does that, and he starts thinking about this whole thing of like we're in like a golden age of public shaming, that we can like call down these mobs on people and like unite. And is it a good thing? Because it's kind of like the voice of the people. It's like a democratization of justice is the way he puts it, which is a good thing. But also, it's easy for these internet mobs to get crazy and basically just destroy someone's life. And so that was the first chapter. The second chapter, which I'm in the middle of, was about a blogger who discovers a popular nonfiction writer has made up some of the quotes in his book, and he has just kind of discovered that and is about to publish his findings in a magazine, and the nonfiction writer's freaking out, and the blogger's thinking, well, surely this won't ruin his life, right? And he presses send, and that's where I stopped. I assume it's probably not going to end well for that nonfiction writer, but I don't know. Fascinating topic, but really, if you've never read Jon Ronson before, I recommend it. Like, even if you're not a big nonfiction person, his writing style is so engaging, and there's something about his prose that's just, it's very concise but also very pointed, in that it really draws you in. He can tell a great story. So I'm very curious to see how this goes. I mean, it's a fascinating topic in this day and age. I know, I'm on Twitter, so I've seen a million Twitter mobs angry about different stuff, oftentimes very justified. People who did terrible, racist, sexist things or whatever, and the internet just comes down on them. But the interesting kind of moral issue this brings up is it worth destroying someone's life when they do something terrible like that? I don't know where this is going to go, but I'm fascinated. So that's So You've Been Publicly Shamed by Jon Ronson. So again, 26 pages into this. through one beer. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time.